Out in the sun, those flames and that silver paint just looks so good. Blue Dooley! Out with the CXT, James with his deadbolt right there, and the wife's HPI Venture just climbing over that little rock. The CXT is complete. For now. I'd like to get a light kit for it, but as it sits, all the grab handles, the steps, the fuel tank, mirrors, visor, all the little light lenses are in place. The final truck is leaf springs in the front with 4-link and coilover in the rear, mainly for a little bit of scale. The real truck would have leaf springs all the way around or air ride out back. I'm not going to spring for an air ride for the truck, so it'll just stay coilover in the back. The leaf springs kind of keep the truck level side to side when crawling over things, and the setup actually crawls really well, having leaf springs up front and the 4-link in the rear. Of course, the steps and the fuel tank did get hung up on some rocks, as to be expected. The truck has a really long wheelbase and kind of a terrible breakover angle. However, I could not be more happy with the way the truck handles. For running gear, I have a Spectrum DX4 transmitter and receiver. The truck is equipped with 2 Hobbywing 1080 brushed electronic speed controllers. Both of those speed controllers have their own battery pack, and both of those speed controllers supply power to a separate motor. I'm running Tekin 45 turn heavy duty motors in the truck. Those motors are bolted to a Traxxas Emax transmission, which connects via a short drive shaft to an HPI Wheelie King transmission. That transmission has steel gears in it now and no more clicker clutch, so the truck can handle the power really well. It's a very smooth system. I really like the 1080 speed controllers because they're very tunable with a little program card. They're easy to use. They're also really lightweight and pretty affordable. So all in all, I would recommend those to anybody who needs an electronic speed controller for a crawler. The steering servo is a Savox unit. It's brushless and really high torque. Despite the truck's real front weight bias, it has no problem turning those 6-inch J-Concept Scorpos. The steering servo handles turning the tires even when the truck's sitting still. I try not to bind it up or climb too radical with it, just because I don't want to damage the body, and it's really tippy.
Easy.
Being dual motored with 2 ESCs and battery pack each, the motors and the speed controllers didn't get warm at all. In fact, I don't even think they got warmer than the outside air. The grill to the truck is open, so when the truck's moving, both motors and the electronic speed controllers get plenty of air. The 45 turn motors, coupled with the gearing of the Emax transmission, plus the gear reduction of the HPI transmission and axles, it lends itself so that the motors don't have to work really hard to move the truck, no matter how steep it climbs. Top speed is a little quicker than a normal walking pace. I mean, it's quick enough if you're on the trail or something and need to kind of get off of it really quick for somebody coming by on a bike or something. You can get off the trail pretty quick, but the deadbolt and the Venture will just leave it in the dust, and the Wheelie King would even leave it further in the dust, as those trucks just have so much more top end than the CXT does. But that's alright. Something to play around with. I don't need the truck to be a speed demon or the best rock crawling vehicle I own. It's just kind of for fun, The truck is going to get a trailer, which is why I went with dual motor and so much reduction. I think after I get the trailer built and see how the truck does with the trailer and some weight behind it, then I might change the gear ratios. But for just lazy trail running, climbing over some things, or handling some steeper sections of the trail, the truck just really is set up and dialed up a lot better than I had expected going into the build. I figured the truck would just be so tippy and so heavy that it wouldn't crawl real well. But I think the weight and the suspension there, the steps got drug a little bit. I think the weight and the suspension work real well together. And I did try to keep the weight down, as the batteries actually are even with the chassis itself. The chassis rails are 3/4 inch aluminum. The cross braces in the chassis are aluminum as well. So the batteries sit even with the chassis, as I said, and the only real weight up high would be the body itself. The other real big surprise of the truck out today is I'm really surprised I didn't get the bumper hung up on anything. I had expected to catch it on a few things. The truck is pretty wide. It's running on Wheelie King axles, and it has a 17mm hex adapter to run those 3.2 inch rims. So they actually tuck underneath the body really nice. But the body is pretty wide, the bumper's pretty wide, so there were a few sections of trails I had to help the truck through just because it was wide and just getting hung up. But it's something you'd expect from a truck that big. It's a 1/6 scale, supposedly, body. That's why it dwarfs the Power Wagon and the Volkswagen Bug so much, as those are 10th scale.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna turn around, but wait till James meets this car. Take two.
Nope. You can save it. But he landed it!
Nailed it!